Happy Sunday. How are you?
Spirit fingers. Happy Sunday.
Spirit fingers. You gotta tell me what that is in here in a second. But hey, good afternoon. We are coming to you live at a special time today because our guest is overseas in the UK. So we'll be talking about here in just a moment. Good afternoon from the West Coast. I am your host, Tony Twist, and always joined by the Miss
Healers. Good
who is
morning,
rocking an
afternoon.
awesome shirt today.
Afternoon, right?
Yeah, afternoon. Well, you're high, so yes, it is afternoon.
Lord.
But hey,
Sheesh.
I'm digging the shirt. I love that shirt.
Thank you, Seth freaking Rollins, bro. This shirt is so I love it. It's a simple design, but you know, for the drip god, this guy is always looking A1. Um, But I love this shirt. I was supposed to wear it at the launch party on Thursday, but I didn't get to wear it. I didn't get to customize it how I wanted it to be customized. So we went with the Sasha looks that you guys have probably already seen on my IG. But
Yes, you
yes,
went
this
to
shirt is fucking.
the what was it called? The pre WrestleMania 39 launch
It,
party in LA.
it was the WrestleMania launch party. So WrestleMania 39 launch party. So it's basically just kind of like getting LA prepped up and ready for Mania. And it was during the day of the drop for the tickets and stuff. I think the tickets dropped Friday and this launch party was Thursday. So it was just kind of like introducing the fact that these tickets were launching and we're having WrestleMania finally come to LA after so many years. So I'm excited. It got me hella hyped for it. There was so much going on for the little time that there was. So it was a really good show and it was all free. Free entrance and free parking. Just that my gas to go there was not free, but
Right. So, did you actually buy tickets for Mania or no?
I did. I actually did. I bought tickets for Mini on Tuesday. Kenny from the Call Up Podcast had actually hit me up because we were looking at tickets together. But I was in a meeting, so I couldn't like answer and I couldn't get on to buy tickets at that time. So he bought his ticket. He told me what section he was sitting at. Unfortunately, I couldn't get seats in that section. But then I
Right.
realized after I bought my seats that I was looking in the wrong section. And yeah, so we're not gonna be sitting together, but we're still gonna be at Mania together. So I'm excited. But yes, we bought our combo tickets, which I, at least from what I've been hearing and I've been seeing, they are no longer available. So now you have to buy single tickets for each night. So I guess like you're paying double taxes, double fees.
So, what
So
did
that's a
you want to
bummer.
do? You want to say what it cost you, or if Steve finds out, will he get very upset?
No, because we bought our own ticket. Like I bought my own tickets like for night one and night two. He bought his own tickets for night one and night two.
Okay.
I wasn't even sure if he was even gonna be going because he hasn't talked about it. And I'm the one that's like, oh, I'm gonna, take the week off. Like, I'm like all
Right.
excited for Mania, like, a whole year in advance. And he hasn't talked about it. So when I got home, I had already purchased my ticket. I was like, hey, I bought my tickets. This is where I'm sitting at. And he ended up getting seats near me. So we're not sitting together either, but we're really close to each other. I think he's only like one row ahead, but we're on the same seat. So he's like directly right in front of me.
So,
So
did it cost you over or under a grand?
under, I didn't pay as much. Okay, so I got the pre-sale tickets, so they
Yeah.
were not as bad as when they went on sale. My section now, if you were to look at it by single tickets, they're over $600 each because I'm in the mid-level. And when I got them, I paid less than $600 for both nights. So I was very, very thankful that I got there as soon as I did to get the pricing that I did. But a lot of people actually got good deals from the people that I was talking to. I do know a lot of people that are getting floor seats, and I'm just like, no thanks. I'm not paying that price. They were ridiculous. Ringside seats were $10,000.
That's crazy.
Crazy. Like what? Like who am I
All right.
sitting
Well,
next to?
we're gonna
Like
get back
Michael
to that.
Jackson?
We'll get back to that craziness in a minute because I don't know who would drop that kind of money, but whatever. To each
I
their
don't
own.
know.
Um,
Exactly.
But we have a guest on our show today. We have an awesome guest on our show today that I'm excited about, and she is based in the UK, Miss Sophia Vee. She is the host of a podcast, Vocal Minds, and does like a million other things. So let's go ahead and just bring her in, and she can tell us all about it. Hello.
Woo!
Hey, what's up?
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. So we're doing our show at a little bit of different time today. It's the afternoon for us. We usually do our shows live on Sunday morning. So switching it up today, I had to pull Liz from she was having brunch and hanging out and drinking champagne and mimosas and everything else. Oh shit, I gotta go. I gotta go do a show.
No way.
So, Miss Sophia, tell us more about you. Tell our audience all about you. I know you're on Twitch, you're on YouTube, you got a really cool podcast called Vocal Minds. So let's start there. Tell us more about your podcast.
Okay, so I'm currently taking a break from my podcast, like a month or two off. But I speak to people with like unconventional jobs, normally. So I've spoke to a journalist who was kidnapped by the Taliban, and but her story is slightly different because she ended up converting to Islam, and now she's the most recognized Muslim woman in the world, and she's like this incredible journalist who released these documents that U.S. and U.K. were spying on the United Nations, so they could place sanctions on Iraq. Like she's incredible, and like a few other people from like unconventional, like this guy who was like a tech giant millionaire who left his work, decided to give up that to go and find aliens, like to go and look for aliens because he believes that he had a interaction with the alien, and that led him to now give up his like tech business, you know, that was generating millions of dollars to go like on this hunt for aliens.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gonna interesting people.
So to say that you have a wide array of guests would be that would definitely cover it, right? I mean, I know you're a huge wrestling fan. Obviously, this is a wrestling podcast, but this is very interesting. But you also have a huge interest in UFO and UFOlogy and all that. Now, is your show obviously it's kind of talks a little bit about everything, but is it focused? Does it all kind of go back to that in regards to your
No,
show?
anyone with an unconventional job. So, like J-Lo's creative director, just like people who have jobs that, you know, aren't like easy to get and very unusual, or like unusual experiences, like people who believe that they can speak to spirits, you know, and mediums, like just anything like really weird and interesting, really, to be honest.
That's a huge area of interest for you, isn't it, Liz?
Oh, hell yeah.
Medium and psychic.
I was about to say that, and I was just like, "Girl, yes." I'm like, "You is the podcast? If you had a show, I'd be watching it too, binge watching. I love watching all of that. When it comes to paranormal, anyone that can, talk to spirits, all of that. I love all that. Aliens too. I was just telling him too. I'm like, I'm a huge alien fan too. I was like, dude, I'm like, I don't personally have an experience, but I believe.
You guys should hit up Daniel Jackson. He came on my show. He probably is one of the most interesting people that you'll ever speak to, just because like he believes that he can speak to Jesus and all the archangels. And um I don't know much about like Christianity, but like everyone associated with the Bible, he literally speaks to on a daily basis. And you
Wow.
know, he speaks with conviction. So he's not been sectioned or like deemed schizophrenic, nothing like that. So like he would be someone that you guys should speak to, just because he is very interesting.
Now, would you categorize yourself as maybe more of a spiritual person, or is there any type of philosophy that you personally follow or that you believe?
So I do believe in God. I don't claim myself to any particular religion. Like I believe in all religions, whether it's Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, Sikhism, Judaism. All I believe that there's one God, you know, and I do believe in God and there's a higher power, but I don't identify it with one specific religion. But I respect every single religion, and I think that there is value in each religion out there.
So, how does that correlate with like UFOs and the belief of aliens? Where does that kind of fall into play for you?
So with UFOs, I personally don't believe in like there's these like round or whatever things, spaceships, aircrafts, like that are not controlled, just surveilling this planet. I don't believe in that personally. I do believe that there is civilization outside of Earth. What that looks like, I have no idea. I've spoke to countless people, like the top people in the UFO phenomena. They all have like, they believe whether it's like these gray, like with huge eyes, or like different species, right? I believe that there's like millions of species outside of this Earth. But there is millions of species on Earth. You know, there's humans and there's different animals and birds and fish and insects and, you know, all kinds of things that, like, even like bacteria that's living. So I believe that, yes, the extraterrestrials or other forms of life are the creation of God.
Well, that is very interesting. Let's switch gears. Let's talk about wrestling. So you're a huge wrestling fan. Where you're at, I'm not sure how much you guys really see there. Obviously, you know, WWE being here in the States, AEW. Tell me how your love of wrestling evolved. Were you watching it as a kid? Did you get into it as an adult? And, you know, I know you do, you know, you're wearing right now, it looks like a Bianca Belair inspired cosplay. Tell us more about that. I would just want to hear all about your love for wrestling.
So AEW actually is really difficult to access here because it comes on, I think, 2 days later. Like, it's not live. They don't have anything yet at the moment. I don't know if that's going to change. Whereas WWE is live here. We get access to that. Also, I have the network. So WWE is very accessible. The other promotions, we can't access them. So it's not like I don't want to watch Impact Wrestling or I don't want to watch these other indie shows. It's just not easy for me to access, or like New Japan, you know. The time zones are so different that it's just so hard to access. With WWE, it's on like TV, mainstream TV, so it's easy to access. I used to watch wrestling when I was really young, and then I stopped watching wrestling. And then I started watching wrestling like consistently, like 3 times a week in the last 2 years, I would say.
Well, you'd be really jealous of Liz because she's at like indie wrestling shows like every week. She's at wrestling shows all the time. She just bought WrestleMania tickets because they're going to LA next year. So Liz is like wrestling all the time, 24/7.
That's amazing.
I've been taking a little break, but I have been noticing, I didn't know how much of a difference it would have been, you know, being here in the US to being outside of the US with wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, I know you mentioned you get AEW like 2 days later. Are you the type of person that you enjoy spoilers, or you stay away from social media to not see the spoilers or things like that? Because I know, especially me, like I tend to be, you know, posting stuff. And then some people message me like, girl, you spoiled this for me. I haven't watched it yet. So how do you feel, like, you know, knowing that, you know, that something's always happening and you're not going to see it till like, you know, way after, unless you're in social media? Do you have a feeling towards, you know, the spoilers and what you see on media before you actually get to watch the entire show?
So I don't like spoilers, but I still go and check for them, especially with like the WWE. AEW not so much, because I know that I'm not going to watch it till Friday. And so whatever I read on the timeline, and also watching it, I guess, I mean, you already know that maybe like CM Punk is returning, or like Karrion Kross is going to show up. But I think watching it live and knowing that so-and-so is coming in a few hours, that it reduces the enjoyment. But if it's a few days later, then I don't know, can you really get as excited? Because it's not like live. Do you know what I mean? I felt that when Braun Breaker debuted on NXT, it was all over the internet, and I had already found out. And when he came on, I was like, oh, this is like underwhelming, because I watched NXT live. And Karrion Kross, like a week ago, it was all over the internet that he was going to show up, and like SmackDown was really like slow that day, and then in the end he showed up, and I was like, like underwhelmed because I already knew that he was coming on. Maybe if I watched it a few days later, I might have been like, oh my God, that's so exciting. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like it reduces the impact that it has. But I still go and read what Sean Rast or, whoever is saying. I don't know why. I just do it. It's terrible. I probably shouldn't. Even like on Friday with SmackDown, like I knew that Hit Row was coming on. I'm not really fond of them, to be honest. So I wasn't like over the moon about it. But I already knew. So even like on Twitch, people don't want to come to my channel now because they're like, oh, she's going to tell us what's going to happen.
Well, tell us about your Twitch.
That does happen.
Now, I'm not too savvy on certain types of social media, just because it's like I feel like I'm old. I don't have a TikTok. I'm not on Twitch, but I'm familiar with Twitch. I know there's a lot of gaming on Twitch, and I know a lot of wrestlers are, some big WWE names and other names. They go on Twitch and they're playing video games and this and that. So there's like a whole audience out there for that. What exactly are you doing on your Twitch?
So I do sidecasting for wrestling, which is like a watch along, really. So it will be on, and then I'll watch and talk about what's going on. I can't put it on my Twitch because of licensing,
Right.
But yeah, so I just watch along and like talk about it, and then I watch a lot of previous wrestling, especially like from the 2000s and 1990s, just because WWE don't really care so much about that era. Like you can show it all day and they won't like DMCA you know what I mean? It's more like the new stuff that they're really concerned about, because not everyone in the world has seen that, but like stuff from 20 years ago, more likely you've seen it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So as far as that goes, the perspective of someone outside the United States, Liz and I are in different little wrestling podcast groups, and we all kind of have our own opinions and things like that. But very curious to hear how someone outside of the United States, what do you kind of think of like the current product of WWE, like what they're putting out? Is there an era that you're more fond of, or do you really enjoy what they're putting out nowadays? Like, what's your take on WWE? I guess maybe before things radically changed recently with Triple H taking over, kind of like under Vince McMahon over the last couple of years.
I love WWE. I'm like a WWE show. So I love WWE. I've noticed though that since Triple H has taken his reign, like there's been less women's matches. I don't know if it's just like, oh, it's only 2 weeks to like actually say anything, but like there has been like less women. I mean, the tag team championships on Monday, but generally that I feel like there's been less, but maybe because a lot of women aren't, especially on SmackDown, there's Charlotte's away, and Ronda's, I think she's going. I'm not really sure what's going on with her because she was there on Friday, but like Sasha Banks not being there, so I think it feels like it anyways, that there's less women right now.
Yeah, the tag team division, I'm glad that they actually brought that back, because I feel like that's an area that's sorely lacking for the women, and they didn't really have a good direction before with the tag team division. So I'm hoping that they do now. Liz, maybe you can answer this. The tag team thing, is that going to be just something on Raw, or is that going to be on SmackDown and Raw that they're going to do their own tag team stuff?
Well, as of right now, I noticed that they're having the tournament on both SmackDown and Raw. I think the one on SmackDown was the match with Shotzi. That was the one that was getting moved. I think Raquel won, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But I don't know. I really don't know where they're going to be going with it, because this tournament got announced after it was announced that Sasha and Naomi may be returning. So I don't know if that has to do anything with it. And then the other thing I've been seeing is that people are hoping that the Bella Twins come back and get these titles so that they can have this under their belt. So I'm just kind of like conflicted on where they're going. I'm like, are they actually going to be giving these, all these women a chance for this, championship, or is it just so that at the end somebody else can just sweep it up, like, Sasha and Naomi, just, keeping them, or, actually having the Bella twins back, which I'm not, I wouldn't be mad at it, but I think I kind of would, just because
right?
they haven't been here. They haven't been
Who wants,
around,
who wants to see
and
the Bella twins come back and win the tag team championships? I mean, I don't. I
mm,
But I
I
think
don't.
that really shines a spotlight. They don't really have enough women tag teams. So
There isn't right now. I think it's just whoever got moved up from NXT is being paired up. I mean, Nikita and what's her name? Zoe Starks. They're being teamed up for this. Like, random. Like, how are you moving? I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna be doing with them. I really hope that, like, I did notice that there was less time of the women's. I know with Liv and Shayna, they did that whole segment of the contract signing, and then Rhonda came in right before that. So they are getting a little bit less time, but I think it's just Triple H moving his blocks around, adjusting to what he has to play with right now and what he wants to add on. And I think it's kind of like smoothing out. I don't know where. I really hope, because he was huge on the women's division and pushing them. So I really hope that he's taking his time with that, so that way we get, like, a huge pop from that, because I'm expecting the women's division to be back on track, especially with Triple H. But going on to that, what are your opinions regarding to Triple H just even taking over, Sophia? And were you expecting it to be as a drastic change as it is now, that when Vince had it, or were you expecting to Vince still kind of, because I was still assuming that he would be staying there a little bit, like, putting his 2 cents in, but it kind of seems like he just disappeared so far. So what was your intake on, do you think that Vince was really going to step away and let somebody else take control?
Well, initially, I never thought that obviously this case and what is going on and all the drama with the women was actually, like, gonna take a toll on his career, because with any CEO, like, every now and then there's like women that come in and there's scandals, and it just passes over time. You know what I mean? So I never thought, like, oh my God, like, this could potentially ruin his career. And so I literally, and do you know when he did, he probably didn't do it, but I was actually on Twitter like that second randomly when he tweeted, I've decided to step down, and but I also understand that he is at an age where he shouldn't be working like 24 hours a day. You know what I mean? And although he seems like they're 100% mentally, we don't know that, because as you get older, like, your brain starts to process slightly different. He's like a complete control freak, so it is very shocking that he decided to let somebody else take control of his baby. WWE is his baby, you know what I mean? And so it is very, very surprising. But who knows? This could have been all in a pipeline, right? Triple H getting like taken out potentially was already pre-planned. We don't know like the ins and outs of what goes on behind the scenes, and but I think him and Stephanie, I would have loved Paul Heyman to take the spot, because I think that he is so creative, and he's good with the storylines, right? Triple H is good with pro wrestling, but I feel like Paul Heyman is quirky and great with storylines and building characters, especially characters that you'll follow for a long time. And so I would have loved him to go into creative, and who knows, he might do, because I know a lot of people are saying the same thing.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely do see Heyman getting back into being head of creatives, at least for one brand. Maybe, who knows,
he
SmackDown.
rubs a lot of people the wrong way. I think he's been in that role before and it didn't really work out.
I'm pretty sure he's just like, this is like, he knows what he wants and what he wants to showcase. And I mean, I don't know, maybe he wants it a certain way, but Heyman would be perfect. This dude is crazy. I would see Cody maybe even getting into a creative role before he comes back. He makes his return. I know right now he's still out, so at least being part of creative could probably definitely help their situation right now with creating that boost again, because it's definitely getting people excited again. Since SummerSlam, people have been excited about WWE again, so I'm excited where it's going. I just hope every string is being pulled, not just two particular, like just Roman Reigns and the tag team and the United States Championship, but then we forget about the Intercontinental, and then we forget about the women's division and stuff like that. So hopefully every single string is being pulled, so that way we're all getting everything in the same direction. But what about you, Tony? I know you have different opinions than I do.
That's all right. That's what makes our show good. We can't think the same way.
Exactly. Everybody has different opinions. We all have to understand that some people on the internet forget people have their own opinions. Like I always see people on TikTok saying, "This is my opinion," and then they go on and like rant about their opinion, and then they wrap it up with, "Again, it is my opinion." I'm just like, it's so sad that we have to reiterate the fact that these are our opinions. This is how we feel personally. Again, my insights of like how I feel about a certain thing is not the same as Tony's. Tony's
or the same as Sophia. We have a disclaimer. These are my thoughts and my thoughts alone.
Yes, we're gonna start getting that little tag.
No, I think WWE is definitely headed in the right direction. I've been a WWE fan my whole life since I was 4 years old. I'm 42 years old, so I've been a wrestling fan my whole life. I've seen it. I've seen the industry change so much. I remember going to one of my first shows when I was like 5, 6 years old, and like Andre the Giant being there, and like the wrestling back then was very different than it is now. It's purely for entertainment sakes nowadays, which is totally fine. I think it's heading in a good direction. Obviously, everything that Triple H is going to do, not everyone's going to, be for. I think, like Sophia said, he brought Hit Row back. That's not a group I would have said that would have been at the top of my wish list of who I want to bring back. Because
I was surprised.
I wasn't a big fan of them when they were in it, and they had really just come up to the main roster. And then I think like a week or two later they were fired. So
I think that was the main reason I was excited. I was like, I want them to be given the chance. Like if they were giving the chance and it doesn't work out, and then but I feel like they weren't provided with that chance. They were put in, a thing with Sami Zayn for like 2 weeks, and then poof, they were gone. And it sucks that they came back without Swerve, but I think Swerve is doing great in AEW right now, so I can't be mad.
No. So I mean, but it's exciting. It's exciting to get excited about the product again, because
absolutely.
I mean, it was just I'm kind of over it. Like it's the same shit over and over again. I know there's so many huge Roman Reigns fans out there, and they're probably gonna be pissed off. But I think Roman Reigns is gonna be dropping the belt soon. If not one of them, maybe they're gonna decide to break up the unification title belts. Something that they got to make some changes. But I'm really tired of seeing Roman Reigns as champ. I'm tired of seeing the Usos as champ. It's like they got to have something new. They got to switch it up. Like that's the only thing I can think of. Just it's got to go in a kind of a new direction. I'd love to see kind of guys like Kevin Owens brought back into the title picture. I mean, they gotta add other guys into the mix. Like there's guys that haven't gone up against Roman Reigns. He's beaten a lot of the roster, but he hasn't beaten everybody. Bobby Lashley's a guy that they could put against Reigns, but they haven't done that. I mean, there's a lot that they could do still. So I guess you just got to kind of be patient. But I think Tony Khan's definitely nervous in AEW because I don't know, his product to me. I lost interest like a little while back. So Sophia, I don't think you're missing a whole hell of a lot with AEW because. I don't know. To me, it's
just watches it late.
It's a little stale.
But also, WoW is debut. So obviously, I don't know about their licensing deal internationally, but first it will be introduced to America, and I guess with the internet, they'll probably put clips of their matches on YouTube and stuff. But WoW is on CBS, right? Which is in every household in the United States, and it's just all women. So is that gonna take the spot for women in pro wrestling because it's just a wrestling show with women and also like very sexy and pretty women? Do you know what I mean? The people that run it on the Lakers, so they could like bring some of the girls on the Lakers matches to get exposure. Then they will get the biggest push and could potentially be the biggest female wrestlers in the future, you know. And then what happens to AEW's female division? Because WWE push their women, well, some of their women. So if WoW comes out and has like, and a lot of girls are from the indies, like they're actual wrestlers, you know. Where's AEW's women division? I said about 2 weeks ago, like I think that they should get rid of the women's division just because I don't think that their audience cares about women in pro wrestling. They're more like ECW fans. They want to see blood in it. They're like hardcore dudes that like just like battle, right? And they don't appreciate women. They're more like very like misogynistic, like, you know, like dudes. And I just believe like they don't appreciate like the women in pro, and their women's division is like the lowest rated segments. If you watch, like no one watches their women's stuff, you know, which is really sad, right? But it's almost like they built this cult of like diehard, like angry men, right? Who just want to see badass shit, and they're not going to appreciate women in pro and women wrestlers, right? Because the feminine, they don't like the feminine touch. They just want to see people like barbaric motherfuckers. Sorry, can I swear here? Whereas
Yeah,
I feel like WWE has groomed their audience over time to appreciate women and women's rights and like doing all these campaigns for women outside of actually wrestling and working with like women's charities. So like the WWE audience genuinely like appreciate women's wrestling. Like they look at them equally, like, but whereas AW have groomed their audience to be like hardcore, like angry and just want to see blood and guts, well, they're not going to like feminine touch. So I think they'll be better off taking their women's division, because if it's not working, why keep doing it over and over and over again, expecting different results? Like obviously your audience does not like it, so why do you keep on putting it on if they don't like it, you know? Jade is sexy. I think she's incredibly beautiful. However, over time, your looks ain't gonna carry you. Do you know what I mean? So like initially when she debuted, everyone's like, oh my God, like this woman, she's so hot. Like she has incredible body and it's so hard for a woman to be muscly and look feminine, because generally you associate bodybuilders with like being like, you know, manly. Women, like women bodybuilders. And I think she hasn't improved as a wrestler. She is hot, right? No doubt. However, over time, it doesn't, like we already know that you're beautiful. What can you do now? You know what I mean? And especially if you compare it to the women in WWE, like someone like Bianca, who's also like strong, but she can do some crazy stuff in the ring, you know? And I just don't feel like Jade is she's improving, you know, as a wrestler. So I personally think they should scrap their division. Their audience don't want to see it. Like they don't want to see it. If you look at the numbers, they're not interested in women's wrestling, right? So why keep on doing something and expecting different results, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead, Liz. Look like you're gonna.
Oh no, I'm just gonna say, I'm like, I do agree with the way that you're saying how, you know, how things are being built. Like WWE has, you know, has backed up the women on their growth. Whereas in AEW, everybody does want that, you know, gory matches. And I feel like the times that I've seen women's matches be appreciated is when they get as gory as men. And it's not like a simple, like, you know, just when it's just like a classic match. I think it's just depending on who it is that people are appreciated of it. Like, you know, if it's Thunder Rosa and Ruby Soho, then people are like, oh, it was, you know, it was a 5-star match, like, it was great, you know, everything. But if it was someone else, you know, it's kind of like, oh, it was all right, it's okay, like it wasn't the best match. So I feel like their women's division is built different, unfortunately, and it sucks. But And the crazy thing that you say about that is that I recently saw that AEW trademark or copyrighted on the All Elite Wrestling, the women's AE women's division. So I think they're gonna start doing like a whole women's thing. So I don't know where that's going, but WoW is coming back, and they're actually gonna be here in LA. So I'm excited about that. Hopefully, I mean, I'm excited for WoW mostly because AJ Lee is in charge of that entire thing. I really, and this, I have been saying this since Paige had announced that she was not going to be re-signing with WWE after July. I personally want Paige to go to WoW than any other promotion. I didn't want her to go to AEW as much as I am an AEW fan. I didn't want her to go to AEW. I had been saying she is going to go to WoW, and I really hope she does. Because she would be a perfect pair to be able to bring up that whole entire, bring just so much attention to the entire brand. So I'm glad that you're gonna get WoW in the UK.
Yeah, it's not. They don't have a national television contract here.
Yeah,
I don't even know where you find them. Like, I don't think are they on a streaming service or
I think there's a subscription service that you can watch them on. I think you can also watch them on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but they're here in LA. They actually do free shows all the time. It's just really, you have to be there really early because since they're free, everybody shows up, and then once they hit capacity, they don't allow you to go in anymore. It happened to me once, so I learned my lesson.
But then also Thunder has her own female promotion, and it's growing, Mission Pro. So let's see where that ends up, because she's smart. That lady is like, I'm a huge fan of hers, and I think she's so badass, and she's also very smart, and who knows, she might decide to leave AEW eventually and focus on her own wrestling promotion, right? It's still very small, but she's making it happen, and she's got all these girls coming up, like going to AEW, like the Renegade Twins and Janai Kai, and like it's really cool. She's doing it for the women. So it's really, I think she's probably like the only woman in AEW. Like if you ask somebody like who your favorite wrestler is, they'll always say a man. But she's the only one that people will say, she's my favorite wrestler. Not like, oh, she's my female favorite wrestler. She's my favorite wrestler. And it's really good, She's earned the respect as a wrestler that you don't just say, oh, she's a female wrestler. And not that that's a bad thing, but like they're not going to be like, oh, I like Bryan Danielson, but she's my favorite. No, they'll be like, she's my favorite wrestler, So it's cool to see that.
Yeah, and I think that's you kind of were talking about a minute ago, shining the light on AEW on how to promote their women, how to push their women. I'm not sure why Jade Cargill's all over my social media feed, but there's like nothing about Thunder Rosa, and she's actually the AEW Women's Champion, and Jade Cargill's the TBS champion. So it's like, how is one person? That's like if you were pushing the Intercontinental Champion WWE over
the United the World Champion.
It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, they definitely got to make some big changes in AEW. Like, I don't like seeing someone. I'm just never been a big fan of seeing someone that's like unbeatable, because then when they are beat, and it's like, okay, where do you go from here? You know what I mean?
After that, the thing is that after they beat them, then after that they start losing consecutively. Where it's just like, what the fuck, like, and it happens even to male superstars where they're undefeated until they're defeated, and then after that, those itty bitty smallest guy like Hornswoggle starts beating you. So it's kind of like what are we doing here now? So that's the one thing that, yes, I do agree with that. Jade is a beast, and I do have or had like imagined something like within Bianca Belair's athleticism, because you see her and she, of course, it's not cool, to compare them, but a lot of people tend to be like, what's a dream match between WWE and AEW? And that is one of the matches, Bianca Belair with Jade. But they're the way that they wrestle is just completely different. Yeah, exactly. Like this, Bianca Belair is over here, doing flips, kicks, and everything, where Jade is just more grounded. So it would be a dream match, to see them together, but it wouldn't be my first choice to see Bianca go against Jade in AEW, WWE thing. But going back to seeing, all these pushes and stuff, Sophia, who's somebody that you're looking forward right now that, that you probably see that's maybe underrated, or someone that's just your favorite that you want to see them be pushed up because you know that they would be great? Because I know you mentioned you watch NXT, so there's a lot of NXT stars, or at least majority of the main roster now is all NXT stars. So is there someone that you see that has been pushed up or has been moved up, or somebody that you want to see be moved up from NXT and get, like, that crazy push that they deserve?
So I don't know if I'm the only person, but I loved Ezekiel. Like, I loved the character. You know what I mean? Like, it was just fun. It was vibes. Like, I'm not a miserable person. So I was really in love with the whole. Ezekiel was my favorite of WWE, male talent, right? And I think that they've taken him off and they're going to bring Elias back now, because he broke his hand or whatever, which is very devastating because I really loved the whole back and forth with Kevin Owens. That was like really entertaining. So that's something I'm very disappointed with, if they do bring Elias back instead of Ezekiel, because that was just legendary. You know what I mean? And he really pulled it off. Like, the NXT, I like Carmelo Hayes. I think he's dope. Cora Jade, she's really cool. Gigi, she's a badass. I love Alba. They changed her name before she was Kaylee. She can take bumps. Like, if you ever watch her matches, she's a badass, and I think that she should be taken to the main roster. I think she's called Alba Fire now.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Hey, so Sophia, there's a huge event coming to the UK, the Clash at the Castle. I have no idea where it's at. Are you going to the event?
It's in it's like next country. But no, I'm not going.
Why are you laughing at me? It's a legitimate question. I'm saying, hey, there's a big event going. I don't know where it's at in the UK. Are you going?
That's like you saying there's an event in the United States and it's like in New York, but I'm in LA.
Whatever. Hey, come on. You gotta give me a break. So.
No, I don't know if I'll go. Honestly,
maybe you should travel for it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know yet. I don't know yet.
Do you travel?
There's another one in Scotland. It's not a big pay-per-view, but the Liv, the Usos, and Shinsuke Nakamura are doing it's a weird matchup, but those 4-5 are doing something in Scotland as well. They come quite a lot, but not all together. So like,
okay.
3 of them will come, and like, yeah, so I don't know. But then we have NXT. I want to go to NXT because you don't have to pay for it. Not that I wouldn't, but it's like in America, I don't think you have to pay for it either. And you can just go and see it. And like, wrestling isn't big in the UK, like in America. But again, America's a much bigger country, right? So can you really compare it with people like soccer here like crazy? So and boxing is like very British thing, and so wrestling isn't like massive. But yeah, it's good to see that WWE is coming back to England, and will they go to Wembley again, which is like where they did the Royal Rumble in the 90s, and it was massive. Let's see. I don't know if they can sell out 80,000 seats in England. I don't know. Can they?
Well, I heard the Clash at the Castle, wherever they're having it, I think the event's about sold out.
Do you know the capacity though?
They said it was in a big arena. I could look. Liz, you want to do the fact checking, Liz? Where is it at?
Let me check. It's gonna be in a big arena. Boo! I hope so.
It says, where is Clash at the Castle? It's at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff, Wales. Are you familiar with that stadium? Is that
No,
like
it's like a different country. So it's like Mexico. Well, it's like Mexico and America, right? Neighboring countries, right? You can literally go there. But so you know what I mean? It's like Ireland is a different country too. Wales is a different country. Scotland is a different country. So I've never been there.
No. Yeah, it looks like it holds 74,000 seats.
No way.
So that's a really big. So I would imagine it's a big football stadium, right?
Yeah, most likely.
75, like 70, almost 7,500.
So that would be
And
like the equivalent. That would be the equivalent of to where they would hold like a WrestleMania, because they usually hold it like in a football stadium.
Yeah.
70 to 80,000 seats.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's going to be a pretty massive event in Wales, and I know that Drew McIntyre is really being pushed for it, but he might be hurt. He might not make it to this event.
You would be excited, wouldn't you?
That'd be horrible. He deserves it. You know?
Tony is not a Drew McIntyre fan. He's a hater.
What? No, get out of here. I'm not a hater. I like Drew. Like, okay, so during the pandemic, when they were in the that fake arena with the fake people, like, he was the champ. He carried it, but they haven't given him a push since then. And
I know.
I don't know. I just can't see Drew McIntyre. He's not, to me, he's not championship material. He's okay in the ring, but I think he's not good on the mic. He's not entertaining.
Is it the accent?
No, it has nothing to do with the accent. I don't think it has any. I mean, I understand the guy perfectly.
Yeah, I love the accent.
Oh, you know what? Hold on. We got Kenny in the chat. So Tony doesn't like a lot of people. That's not true.
That's true. That is
like
fact.
a lot of people.
Stating facts.
I like a lot. I like Drew McIntyre. I think he's solid. I like him. I don't think he's a guy that should take the belt off of Roman Reigns.
I need him meaner. I don't like this,
right.
Like just, come out and, I want mean Drew. Like this dude, like veins are popping out of this dude's neck mean. Like this dude is just aggressive, ready to fucking fight. And I don't know, because like I hear his voice and I hear his accent. I'm just like, dude, like you're ready for a bar fight, bro. Like, like I don't know why you're coming in here and just swinging a sword around. Like, hey guys,
He's got to drop that sword.
I love the sword. I love the sword. I just don't like him dangling it everywhere. Like, just have it, nice and tight, and deck a motherfucker when you need to. No, I'm just kidding. But I just need mean Drew. I want him to be. Maybe it's just me, always obsessed with the heels and the bad guys and wanting them to. But I want him to be mean and savage, and just because his Claymore kick, like, dude, that's just destructive. Like, I would not want a 6'7" motherfucker that's almost 300 pounds, a pure muscle, drop kicking the shit out of me. Like, I would not want that. So I don't know. I think he just needs to get meaner for everybody to kind of get behind him solidly, like how he was when they were trying to get him to be pushed for the main title. But it sucks that he did have to go through that during the pandemic when nobody was around to enjoy it, and he didn't get his WrestleMania moment. He did, but he didn't. So I don't know. I would like to see him to get pushed again, but I want him to be mean. I need him to get grimy and get nasty. I'm just saying.
Well, I think he'd definitely be much better as a heel than he is as a babyface, but he's got to drop the sword thing. Unless he's really stabbing somebody with it, I really don't want to see him. I don't want to see him swirling around a sword. So.
Unless he's grabbing donuts for me and bringing them to me, then, that's the only time he needs the sword.
But I think it's great that they had Karrion Kross to the mix, because I think they might have a feeling that Drew McIntyre might be hurt and not be able to go, or they somehow add this into a triple threat match.
I think that the more the merrier. They need to build up multiple people. They can't just be building up one, because that the same thing, what happened with Cody. They had so many plans and were revolving everything around him, and then bam, he gets injured and he's out for months. And now they're left with, picking up the scraps and pieces of trying to figure out what the fuck to do next. So I feel like they needed Carrion, but they also need Drew. They also need Bobby Lashley. They need all these all these guys to build up the entire division, whether Bobby Lashley stays with the United States Championship or moves on to the main title, which I would love to see. But they need to build up multiple people, not to have as backups, but in order to just make that entire division just interesting. Like, you want to know who the fuck is going to be next, not expect to know who's going to be pushed. Like, I don't know, that's just me. I think, like, building up the many people and be like, oh, who could it be? And then bam, like, someone like hella fucking random, comes in, shows up and shows out, and you're just like, okay, like, what happened with Rey Mysterio when they allowed him to, come in and get into the main title reign as heavyweight champion.
Right.
He got a huge pop, but he did a lot with that championship. So I feel like they should give, aside from just the big dudes, but aside from that, I just hope that they build up that. In, like I said, every string needs to be pulled in order for this to work, so that we can stay excited for WWE, because I was getting sad already. So now I'm more excited. I'm ready to see what happens on Monday, what happens on Tuesday, what happens. Well, Wednesday is AEW, but what happens Fridays, and then even more with pay-per-views. Like, one of our things that we talk about every single week, especially to coming on to pay-per-views, is there's not enough build-up. So, I hope that now we start getting enough build-up. Triple H, went through the whole entire Attitude Era, went through the Ruthless Aggression Era, went through everything, and him actually being there and start like feeling everything, and to now being in the back and taking over creatives, I think it's majorly huge. I know that Vince McMahon did it, but I don't think he did it fully as a full-time wrestler, and merge into being back there for him to understand exactly what the kind of fans need or want, or what we should be seeing. And I feel like Triple H too, he's probably up, with the trends and what's going on than Vince is. Vince is just relying on other people to do the research on what's trending. Then with Triple H, he has young kids too. So, he's a hip dad. Just saying.
Sophia, are you ready to see Roman Reigns not be champion anymore, or are you a big Roman Reigns fan?
No, I'm ready to see somebody else. I don't like Roman personally, but I understand. It's interesting though, if you see like him in the Shield, right? You could never think that he would become this. Like, he looks so different, and now he's like this like Amazonian like god, and everyone in the world is like going crazy over him. People in like Indonesia and like India like obsessed with him. It's really interesting, and he can do it. Not many people can do it. So if you give them the opportunity, they might not be able to be able to deal with all of that. You know what I mean? To be able to carry the company. So I think he's handled it really well, to be honest. And I look forward to seeing what he has plans in the future. Is he going to become the next Hollywood star? Who knows?
Kind of seems like they're going that way.
Right. Well, hey, an hour has almost gone by. Sophia, I would love to hear if you have any events coming up, anything you would like to plug all your different social medias. What do you got going on that you want people to keep an eye out for?
Well, you can catch me on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Sophia with a PH. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, which is Vocal Mind Sophia. That's pretty much it.
Do you do like Liz does appearances and signs autographs and takes pictures with her fans every week in random locations at wrestling stores? Do you do any type of local appearances anywhere or anything like that?
No.
No.
I live in a destitute area. That there ain't shit going on. Maybe if I was in Cali, you know what I mean? Shit would be different because obviously there's a lot going on there. But here, there's nothing.
Girl, we gotta move you out here to LA. Let's go.
Literally, Hollywood Liz. That's all you should change your name to.
Right? Yeah, I think we might need to change the name, at least for this show, right? Hollywood Liz.
Right?
From Heel Liz to Hollywood Liz.
Literally.
Well, hey, Sophia, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure chatting with you. And if you ever do come to the States, Liz is going to take you out partying in LA. I live in a sleepy town in northern Arizona in the woods.
He's sleeping by 7 p.m.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I live in the woods, and it's beautiful here. I can't handle the hustle and bustle of a big city anymore. I lived in Phoenix for many years, which is like 5 million people. And after the pandemic, I was just like, yeah, I'm ready for small town and not being around a lot of people. So I just sit in my house and look at the trees and all that stuff. Liz is out partying and hanging with wrestlers. She went to the WrestleMania pre-launch party in LA. She's hanging out with Snoop Dogg and everybody else.
I would have been smoking, bro. I would have been smoking with Snoop. I wish I could have. But I did get to see him. The launch party was super dope. It was the first time ever. I definitely recommend if Mania is ever in the area. I know that Mania is going to be in Philly 2024. So it's probably a little bit closer to you, Sophia. So I don't know. Probably we can meet up. So 2023 is next year, huh? Oh my God. God, my so bad.
It does. Well, hey, Sophia, thank you so much again for joining us. I'm your host, Tony Twist, as always, joined by Miss Heel Liz. And,
Hollywood Liz now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're that next week, Liz, when you come on, it's got to say Hollywood Liz. So
gonna say that now.
Well, thank you so much, Sophia. We'll chat with you for a moment after we go off the air here. But thanks again, guys, for joining us. It's Sunday. Next Sunday, we'll be back at our normal time. 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm your host, Tony Twist, and we're out of here.